Bandidos, get ready to feast your eyes on the magnificent St. Elmo's Engine Exotic Assault Rifle, the star of Year 5 Season 1 Extravaganza. In this video, I'll be your trusty guide as we delve into every nook and cranny of this weapon, unveiling the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. Strap in tight because I've got all the juicy details you need to decide where this baby fits in your loadouts and playstyle. But wait, there's more. Stick around as I unveil a top-tier build that'll have this exotic stomping legendary missions solo. Hit like if unique and effective builds up for you, and comment Elmo to support the channel.
Ain't too many kids bang with us. Situation is fight one. What you gonna do? Why go run?
This is the new St. Elmo's Engine Exotic Assault Rifle. You get it simply by progressing up to level 90 on the season rewards track. Every time you level up your character, you level up the rewards track. And the more XP you gain while playing, the faster you level up. They did a great job on the design. It's built on the M4 platform, on both the mods and talent have it standing apart from the other exotics and standard issued assault rifles. It comes with a 20% crit damage mod, a 20% weapon handling mod, and a 20% crit chance mod, and a plus 30 round mag mod. The base damage and 85 base RPM are on par for an M4 assault rifle. You can reroll a secondary attribute on this exotic at the crafting bench. Be sure to do that. I recommend going for damage to targets out of cover. The weapon's talent allows you to earn shock ammo after 100 stacks or 100 shots landed on targets. There's a meter to show you your progress. Note, when you earn this special ammo, it arrives on the next magazine, not the current active magazine. It will not auto reload your magazine with the earned special ammo. You can reload early to access it immediately. If you don't reload early, shots landed will continue to stack towards the next supply of shock ammo. Either way, you're getting credited for stacks. The amount of shock ammo is 70 total rounds, equivalent to one full magazine. When you have shock ammo, you will not be gaining stacks again until you exhaust your supply, at which point you will resume stacking where you left off before you activated your shock ammo. You don't lose shock ammo when you fast travel or switch weapons, but you will lose stacks when you switch weapons. You can also earn shock ammo in the testing range and take it with you when you leave. That makes this a considerable full-time secondary weapon too, maybe best in slot on your other builds. Simply earn your shock ammo, stow it, and use it to cripple bosses or to stop the rush. The reload on this weapon is a fantastically fast 1.7 seconds thanks to the handling mod. On the same build, the Police M4 with a typical crit mod and extended mag setup has a 2.1 second reload. The FAMAS has a 1.9 second reload. The recoil pattern goes up and to the right. It's pretty tight. The standard Police M4 is a little more vertical and the FAMAS goes, well, off the page. What makes this weapon great? At first glance, you might think it's the shock ammo, but it's not. Hold that thought for a moment though. The reason this weapon is amazing is because of the mods. Assault rifles struggle with crit chance, and this really boosts that up. If you think about your standard assault rifles, each mod usually has about 5% crit value, a 5% crit chance, 5% crit damage, and 5% handling. They also have the extended 20 round mag with a penalty to reload. This mag gives you another 10 rounds on top of that without a penalty, which is like another free mod. If you think about the values on the mods, it's the equivalent to having 14 mods on an equivalent weapon. And that's good because it's also necessary since this weapon lacks a damage talent. Without those mods, I'm not sure this weapon would make it to your primary weapon slot. Speaking of mods, you can ADS in scope with this weapon too. Pretty nifty. Back to the talent. Let's not set aside that 100 stacks of anything is really a lot. You're going to need to encounter 3 or 4 NPCs to earn your ammo. And if you switch weapons for any reason before you do, your progress is lost. Once you do earn your shock ammo, you will notice it doesn't have much mileage. Without any status effect attributes on your build, a shock to a heroic elite will last about 2.5 seconds. A decent DPS build kills an elite around 1 to 1.2 seconds. That means all the shock rounds after the initial hit are wasted because you cannot refresh the shock or shock a target who is already shocked. That means on a DPS build where your primary objective is to eliminate the target as fast as possible, you will probably make use of 3 to 5 shock rounds out of 70. Sometimes more, sometimes less, but one thing's for sure, you will notice the ammo went way faster than it took to earn. And that makes the shock somewhat unreliable, which may discourage you from using talents like Galvanize on your DPS build. The uptime would be subpar at best, and that unreliability and waste of ammo makes the talent not the best part of the weapon in my opinion. I feel like it's great when it's there, whatever when it's not. However, the sentiment will change depending on the role you're playing. For example, on support builds where DPS is not your objective, you can strategically use your shock on priority targets for your team to annihilate with ease. I do think there is a strong possibility this weapon can become the meta for the majority of the player base. Most know the standard Police M4 assault rifle doesn't hold the top DPS slot of all assault rifles, yet it's still the #1 preferred AR in the game. That's because its handling to damage ratio is balanced, making it a weapon that enhances the average player's performance compared to many of the alternatives. St. Elmo's is easy to obtain and fits on most assault rifle builds and gear sets, but most of all, it handles really well. This weapon feels good, sounds good, and looks good, and gets the job done. Plus, the talent is easy to understand and use. That's definitely a plus in this game. Best use case, you can add this weapon to just about any AR build and it will work, but it stands out against legendary heavies. Big targets are easy to stack on and hold them back with the shock. You can shock, then swap to a weapon with Thunderstrike to hold them back indefinitely too. So even if you're not running a St. Elmo's build, you might want to bring it along for legendaries anyways. Here are my notes for the devs. The scoped reticule is nearly invisible. I recommend something with better contrast with a dot or crosshair style for accuracy. The biggest thing that needs to change is the time to stack, shock, uptime ratio. Since we cannot shock a target already shocked, lots of shock ammo is being dumped into targets without effect. The ongoing directive set has the same issue, but the time to earn ammo is considerably less, making it less painful of an issue. One possible solution is to make it so that the active shock status can be refreshed with an additional shock round. But the best and most straightforward solution is to allow the user to continue to gain stacks even when shock ammo is equipped. Since so much of the ammo is wasted on targets already shocked, thereby making the target immune to additional shock effect of the ammo, increasing the rate of which we earn the ammo will not give the user unfair advantage. Instead, we will feel less impacted by all the wasted ammo on a single target. Also, when swapping weapons, we lose all progress on our stacks. It seems the Thunderstrike talent has a role here, but with the current configuration, there is a disincentive to swap weapons with the penalty of lost stacks. Bandidos, if you agree with this feedback or have any other feedback for the devs, please be sure to comment and hit the like so our feedback is heard. Your support is appreciated as always. Status effect attributes. Is the juice worth the squeeze? I loaded on different levels of status effects to measure the change in duration of the shock status effect on elites, measured to the nearest 1/60th of a second. Here, interesting details emerge that you might find helpful for your builds. If you take a striker build and max out status effects on it to 90%, you will increase the status effect duration by 44%. It's about half, and that number is telling us there is diminishing return on our status effect attribute. We see that trend again between similar incremental changes of 10%. The third series is showing an all striker build with no status effects. The middle, 30% is with the memento added, and the last is with one more 10% status plus the memento for a total of 40%, which is the build I'm bringing you today. What the numbers are telling us is that each 10% status effect roll becomes less impactful to the build as you add more. However, it's also telling us that 10% status effect attributes are more potent than the equivalent percentage from the memento. In this example, two 10% status effect attributes on the build get us 319 in shock duration. 30% skill efficiency from the memento gets us to 312 in duration, which is slightly less. My findings and recommendations, however, might surprise you. I think the memento is the best in-slot backpack for the St. Elmo's exotic AR. Although skill efficiency on the memento is not as potent as a standard status effect attribute, percentage to percentage, with the memento you get at least 15% increased shock duration without losing any rolls to status effects. And you retain all the offense and defense stats on your backpack too. The build I have for you today brings a 24% increase to shock duration with about 1 million crits on 1.1 million armor. And it has the perfect status effect duration on the shock to immobilize multiple targets long enough they can't shoot back. Wait, not running the striker backpack isn't worth the loss in damage. Let's go ahead and address that paradigm, shall we? This is basically the same build I'm bringing you today. It still has 1.1 million armor, but instead of the memento, I have a striker backpack and the coyote mask. All else is the same. With the striker backpack, we get 940,000 on crit, with the coyote's close range 25% crit damage buff, 897,000 at average ranges. The build I bring you today with the memento and all other stats being equal hits over 930,000 at every range. Now, Now, put that in context. With the damage values basically the same, choosing the Memento's damage, bonus armor, armor regen, and buffs to status effects and skills is absolutely worth choosing it over the Striker backpack. And for me, that is even the case in group and in legendary. But that's a larger topic we can save for later. So why do we want duration on a shock status effect anyways? When the enemy is shocked, they aren't shooting back. The best case is to have the shock long enough for you to kill them without them ever shooting back. Further, if they are disabled long enough for you to switch weapons and then kill them, that's even better. That's because we have the new Perfect Thunderstrike talent that gives 40% amp damage to shock targets. When you're 1v1, you can conserve your shock ammo by switching to your secondary. With this setup I have for you today, you can do that all day and keep them from shooting you. It's pretty nifty. And when faced with groups, you can shock all of them before focus firing on one. Okay, here's the build. So starting with the specialization, I'm going with Gunner for that 10% armor on kill, also for ammo regeneration, but you can really go with whatever you want here. Even Technician for legendary would be nice, but 10% armor on kill is very helpful. I'm running 4 pieces of Striker. Not a surprise here. I think a lot of people like this weapon with Striker because you need that little extra umph since you don't have a damage talent. So we got weapon handling, rate of fire, and 4 pieces is giving us Striker's Gamble, which is 100 stacks of multiplicative damage. And then I have weapon damage and crits here. On the gloves, more weapon damage and crits, Striker knees, armor and crits, and the holster is weapon damage and crits. Hey Bandidos, the community we have built together wouldn't have been possible without you. So as a thank you for supporting my channel and the community, I'm bringing you the hookup on member perks, including even more Division 2 content and the celebrated gaming music playlists. If you're not part of Texas Players Club, click the join button below. We have the Memento for all its greatness. I have a crit chance mod here. And of course, because we're playing out of cover a lot, I am playing into the short-term buffs. We usually have at least one short-term buff active at all times, plus the long-term buff. So the long-term buffs, 30% weapon damage, short-term buff, 5% weapon damage per red core, and we got 5 of those. And then we're getting 3% armor regen from the blues and 10% bonus armor per blue core. We got 2 of those. That's 20% bonus armor on kill, plus a 10% armor on kill. And then we have the skill efficiency, and that's gonna be 30% at full stacks, plus 5% boost per skill tier. We have 1 of those. So that 30% is what's going into status effects. So the chest piece is very special. This is the all new Henry named chest piece. It's part of the Electrique brand set that just arrived with season 1. So we're getting 10% status effect, which is nice for that shock ammo duration. And then I've rolled a weapon damage core. It normally comes with a skill tier. And then I have headshot damage. I wish I was crit damage, but that's okay. And then I got crit chance and more crit chance here. So what's special about this is it comes with perfect companion. Let's read that. So while you are within 10 meters of an ally or skill, total weapon damage is increased by 20%. So that's total weapon damage, a multiplicative stat. We like to see that there. It's similar to Obliterate, a little bit less, but you don't have to stack and you can have it up at all times, where Obliterate dissipates after 5 seconds. I really enjoyed this, and since I'm running the Fixer, that is what's activating that. And then there's some synergies going on here. So the Memento backpack is not only elongating our shock ammo, but it's also giving us 30% repair skills to this when we're at full stacks, which I'm not at right now. But when we are, that gets to be a very strong heal, and that's in addition to our 3% armor regen on our 1.1 million armor with our 20% bonus armor on kill. So there's a lot of synergies happening here. This backpack is feeding into more damage because the longer it keeps that skill up, the longer we have our companion without disruption. So really nice, and we're getting stronger duration on our shock, also because of the chest piece with its 10% more status effects. I'm really happy that I found a home for this chest piece. I wasn't quite sure if I was gonna like it or not, but I really enjoyed it with this build. It feels great. You feel strong with this. I switched between the decoy and the shield. Otherwise, pretty standard setup here. All right, my secondary weapon is a cabaret. I have crits all around and a larger mag, and it comes with Perfect Thunderstrike, which is giving us that 40% extra damage to shocked targets. And so I actually, with this duration, have fun swapping to this weapon from time to time. I don't do it always, but it's pretty fun. Stats wise, we're at 54% crit chance and 113% crit hit damage. On the SMG, we're at 56 and 103. Be sure to check out this Desert Eagle build that has 8 kills in the mag next.
Follow me.